the true asset is actually the mortgage if you do it right. Real estate, that little single family property, is actually just the key to unlocking the bank vault. And what's in that bank vault? It's a 30-year fixed mortgage. The best financial tool ever created is a 30-year fixed mortgage.
Hey everyone, it's Tamara Thompson with Broadcast Your Authority, and I'm super excited for our next guest of panelists, as well as our guest that's in stage with us. But I'm actually going to have our co-host, Ryan Lee, introduce our next guest. Ryan, over
Let's
to you.
go. I am super honored to introduce Peter Skaggs. Listen, I'm in the real estate world. I'm on a panel with real estate experts, and the real estate world is full of sharks. It's full of people that, they want to sell you a dream and then they want to come charge you for that dream. But the man I'm about to introduce is Peter Skaggs. And Peter Skaggs is the founder of Lighthouse Lending. Peter Skaggs is focused on the client first. He's an educator at heart. And I think one of the things I admire most about Peter, who's done, quite literally billions of dollars of real estate transactions, is he focuses on every single individual with their best interest in mind. And I've personally been on the receiving end of that. And I've seen thousands of clients go through his system and understand more comprehensively what they're doing because of Peter's guidance and expertise. So Peter, welcome to the show, my friends.
Wow. How about that for an introduction, huh? Thank you.
I love it. Well, tell us a little bit. I know you guys have done some business together on that side, but tell us what you're up to right now.
So right now, I've just been super blessed. I've been blessed. I've owned my mortgage brokerage for now 16, almost 17 years.
That's great.
Yeah, amazing. And I just shake my head. How did that happen so quickly? But and over those 17 years, I've been very blessed to help hundreds, probably thousands of people now buy investment properties and things. But I've been teaching one-to-one, and so I want to increase, I guess, my impact, some of the things that I've experienced personally, as well as watching a lot of my clients go through. I want to help them, and I want to serve more people. And so that's why I'm doing this now. I want to get out and speak to one-to-many and share with them the framework that I've developed. We've got basically 12 fundamental disciplines that you need to follow if you're going to be successful in real estate, and not just be able to buy, but to stay. What we talk about buying power. You got to have buying power. That's what I'm expert at, is helping you get into buying real estate. But then it's staying power. You need to have staying power. You need to stay in the game. And then I want to help people go beyond that, and that's growing power. So that's what I'm focused on right now, Tamara, is just helping people to get into the game, stay in the game, and grow in the game, be successful.
I love that. Could you walk us through your framework?
Sure. Yeah.
I'd love to hear a little bit more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I won't go through all 14 disciplines, but the idea...
I was like, how do you keep that in your head? We're going to download that.
Yeah. So, but it's pretty simple, actually, and it probably, a lot of it makes sense. But there are a few things that I think that I am probably one of the very few in the country that actually teach correctly when it comes to financing real estate. We've got experts like Shane who could probably teach you all day how to go and find a great asset, and how to identify that asset and make sure that the numbers work. But ultimately, financing is that bridge from seeing that asset to ultimately owning it and controlling it and now having it work for you. So a few things that we talk a lot about is that the true asset is actually the mortgage, if you do it right. Real estate, that little single family property, is actually just the key to unlocking the bank vault. And what's in that bank vault? It's a 30-year fixed mortgage. The best financial tool ever created is a 30-year fixed mortgage. Mm-hmm. So that's an example of things that we teach. We teach people.
Tamara, can I actually jump in on that though really quick?
Oh, please.
You just come on, man. You just broke some brains right there. What the heck are you talking about? How is a 30-year fixed mortgage the best financial tool out there? Because I don't think anyone looks at their mortgage as a financial tool, right? Dave Ramsey's out there saying, pay that thing off as fast as possible. But tell us about that.
So another one of the disciplines is understanding that we leverage and the power of leverage and the amplifying effect. I like to talk about leverage being like a megaphone, that it will help you broadcast your voice but it all, and your successes, but it can also help broadcast your failures. So we got to be really careful about leverage, getting good leverage. There are a lot of bad loans out there. There's a lot of, difficult loans out there. I watch friends, who are in commercial space or going borrowing hard money and doing some of these other things. And they're on this treadmill. They're on this treadmill and they're just moving as fast as they can. They're trying to keep up with the debt that they've got. Versus a 30-year mortgage, I can set it and pretty much forget it. I can get my tenants to pay it. I can generate some cash flow. It's 30 years to pay it back. And I only had to bring $1, and the bank in that bank vault is another $4. I just 5x'd my returns just by doing a simple thing as going and getting some leverage with a phenomenal financial tool, the 30-year fixed mortgage. So does that answer your question, Ryan?
That totally does. I mean, that blew my brain when you really shared that with me for the first time, because I always thought the house, the real estate was the asset, but that's really the tool to get access to the real asset, which is that 30-year fixed mortgage. And I know you take that so much deeper on how to use that as income, how to use that as an inflation hedge. So I know you can go a mile deep on that. But I have one more piece of just a question for you. Your focus now on investors, right? And I think your focus is a really unique expertise, because you're not focused on like the expert investors. You're focused on the people going from, hey, I own a single family home that I live in, to now I want to maybe get some assets to get going. And that's a difficult world to really focus on. How do you really slow down enough to educate someone so they can go from, I know what a mortgage is, to now I know how to use it as a tool?
Yeah, I think the framework helps them do that. And we walk them through a lot of those disciplines and help them to understand, hey, you do need to have a little bit of money. You need to be ready to deploy that money. Then when you're ready to deploy that money, leverage is going to help you amplify what you have ready to deploy. And then from there, we got to get you into the right leverage, the right debt, so that you have longevity in this game. And we talk a lot about liquidity. Lenders have a logarithm, a difficult formula that we have to follow as lenders to determine if you have enough liquidity, enough reserves to protect you to stay in the game. I actually am a lot more conservative than the banks. I've seen far too many, especially when you go in and buy real estate. Like I recommend the single family that needs rehabbed or is newly rehabbed, but it's an older property. You need to have a little more in your bank account so you can sleep well at night, right? And so we talk a lot about that, about staying liquid and you got to be moving money. I believe in velocity of money, but ultimately also you need to have some set aside so that you are protected for that rainy day, because they are coming. Yeah. The rainy days are coming, right? Shane.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now, one thing is for sure is like, finding an investor-friendly lender such as yourself is actually very hard to find, right? And you have all these great products. What would you say for those people who've got, let's just say there's a guy that got into 2 or 3 homes, they didn't get the right kind of product. They could still come to you and you'd be able to, number one, help them pivot out of that and maybe kind of give them some guidance, right?
Yeah,
what are some of the main, like, top 3 mistakes that you see investors make?
I love this question. So I believe that a lot of investors, me included, initially, I was not building a portfolio. I was collecting real estate. And there is a difference. There's a difference between building a portfolio that's going to help you achieve financial freedom versus just being a collector. If you look at my portfolio, and I'm working on cleaning this up, Shane, but I've got lots of single families. I've got some short-term rentals. I've got commercial buildings. I've got a couple apartment complexes. I got an apartment in my house. I've got, you name it, I've got it all, right? And so I've been a great collector of real estate, but ultimately I'm spread very surface level. And where I think true wealth is, and where most investors get it wrong, is that you need to go deep. You need to understand an asset class And I don't care what asset class I do. I have an opinion on what asset class is the right asset class, but ultimately you find something that resonates with you and you need to go deep. You need to become an expert in that asset class. And as you do so, the deals start to flow a little more easily, don't they? You know, you start to make the connections. You start to be able to identify those great opportunities much, much more rapidly. So that's one example of mistake I think that a lot of them make. Liquidity is a big one. You know, I think a lot of people, especially in 2020, 21, when interest rates fell through the floor, I was watching people buy, and they never stopped to think about, oh, what's going to happen when I have vacancies on all these properties or maintenance or other issues. You know, I'm spending all of my capital because I'm trying to take advantage of this. You know, 3% on a bad deal is still a bad deal.
That's right.
You know, and so one thing that we talk a lot about in the framework is this idea that we focus on the permanent more than the temporary.
Yeah.
An example of that, Shane, is permanent is the market you're in, the asset you're buying, who you might be buying that from. You know, you might be buying it from some sort of provider or some, you know, real estate agent, wherever you might be buying that. Those are permanent things. And the purchase price. I can't change the purchase price. I bought that property for X. It's always going to be X, what I paid for it. But what's temporary? What do you think as a mortgage guy, the number one question I get every day?
What's the rate?
What's the rate?
Yeah.
That's a good question, but
not the whole.
It's a temporary thing. The interest rate is this today, but tomorrow it's going to be different. An hour from now it's different.
Yeah.
And you're definitely going to get rid of that rate eventually. You know, you're going to refinance, you're going to pay it off, you're going to sell it. It's a very temporary thing. And that's another thing that I think a lot of real estate investors get wrong, is that they focus so much on the temporary, they miss a lot of the permanent decisions.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yeah. I had a question. So I know you said you made, I think, millions off your Airbnb. And so on that question, what would you say on the lending side is some of the most successful, solid real estate strategies that you could do?
I love it. So yeah, Linda, I've got an Airbnb in Kauai. I call it my lifestyle asset. That home has been a massive blessing in my life. We bought it hoping we'd break even. We bought it about 9 years ago now. I can't believe that. And we had been going to Kauai for about 5 or 6 years before that. Every summer, we had been renting a house for about a month and just working out there. And we bought that house. It's a condo. Linda, I lived in a $350,000 house. I bought an $850,000 condo out in the middle of the ocean, you know? And my wife and I are just like, what are we doing? We were crazy. We were insane. You have to have a little bit of crazy to be a real estate person, right? So we bought that. And you know what it worked is the fact that we bought where we loved and what we knew. And I think that was important for us. We loved it. We knew the market. We had been spending a lot of time there. We were very confident in what we were doing. We hoped that we'd make income, and then we've figured it out. I've got a tenacious wife. She's phenomenal. I love her. And I'm so grateful for her. She put her head down and said, I'm going to figure out this Airbnb thing and I'm going to make it work. And she has, but it was buying an asset. It was taking that scary decision of moving forward, buying that asset, something we knew, we understood in a market we knew and understood and trusted, and then ultimately leaning into that and figuring it out as we went, and there's always an aspect of that as a real estate investor is just kind of jump into the deep end and you learn a backstroke pretty quickly, don't you? Hopefully. So
I want to ask you a quick question because this also breaks my brain when it comes to owning real estate for the long run. You specialize in helping people get going in real estate, but you also specialize in helping people keep real estate over the long run. I think that's the power of education. Is you don't make money when you buy real estate, right? It takes time for you to make money inside of real estate. Right. But here's the thing I want to ask you specifically related to debts. Okay. If you think debt is the asset, if that's the real asset, not the real estate's, is there ever a point where I'm going to get rid of my debt?
I love this question. And I've got an opinion that's probably very contrary to what everybody, I just talked to a lady yesterday. She's like, I think she's 62 or 63 years old. She's, in her early to mid 60s. And she's like, well, we're at that stage where we want to start paying down the mortgages on this. And I'm thinking, why would you do that? Why would you do that? She wants to go pay it down. And what is she doing? As she pays that mortgage down, she's taking on all of the equity risk associated with that property. She now absorbs 100% of that equity risk. And as Robert Kiyosaki teaches, and so does Grant Cardone, our homes are a liability. Our primary residence are a liability. And she wants to pay that off too. So she's going to take on this liability and be 100% at risk on the asset. And I said, well, I didn't teach her. I should have. I bit my tongue because, I could tell she's so hopeful about paying off her debt. But, I wanted to say to her, why not transfer the risk to an entity, to a business who is designed to take that risk on? And just like any entity, just like insurance or otherwise, when you transfer the risk to them, you're going to pay a little bit, right? When we get insurance, we pay a little bit for insurance, but ultimately they take on that risk. A mortgage is the same thing. I can transfer the risk to the bank and the bank will take on the risk with me. They'll partner with me. Guess what? I still get all the upside, don't I? When I own that property, I get the appreciation. The bank doesn't. I also, if I buy the right properties, I get a tenant who's going to pay down my loan balance for me. So I get forced savings in the principal reduction. That leverage is powerful, powerful thing. I get tax benefits. I don't pay taxes very often. It's pretty awesome owning real estate. And then obviously I get, depreciation, some cash flow. And so what a powerful tool. We call that the wealth stacking. It's not just appreciation, but it's all those other things. So I don't know if that answers your question, Ryan, but that's what, to me, it's like, why would you do that? Why would you want to take on, as I get older and older, especially as my income maybe goes away, or my day job goes away and I head into retirement? Why would I want to absorb all of the risk of carrying my wealth in that house when I could partner with a bank and have them share that risk with me, and still generate income and all of the other benefits from it? The cool thing too about it, guys, is as you build equity, I can go do a cash out refinance and I can live on that cash out refinance tax free. It's debt. It's not income. It's debt. And because of it being debt, the IRS doesn't tax us. And that is powerful. I can show you, Tamara, before we got on here, we were talking about the Freedom Flywheel. Yeah. And that's the idea of the Freedom Flywheel. It goes back to this Robert Allen idea that Ryan shared with us earlier, that you buy two single family homes a year for 10 years, you have 20 properties. And then on the 11th year, you go refinance those first two properties. And you pull cash out and you're going to have hundreds of thousands of dollars pulled out of those two properties. That's all you bought. And it's tax free. That's, it's a phenomenal thing. And now you've got this flywheel that just generates income for you into perpetuity. And that's why I confidently can agree with Ryan and what he teaches, and that in 10 years or less, you can be financially free if you just take the bull by the horns. It's ownership. You just take some ownership, go buy a couple properties. And I can show you, I can help you find the right properties in the right markets, get the right financing, and you could own real estate inside of 90 days. I don't know if I could own 60 homes in 5 months like you, Shane. Yep. That's amazing.
Well, you can.
But I can teach somebody to have their own single family, turnkey, ready to go, amazing asset that's generate and access to the bank vault and do that inside of 90 days. And all they have to do is do that 2 times a year for the next 10 years. Some people like to go a little faster than that, but anyway.
I love this. No, this is incredible. So the flywheel, right, is basically what you were calling
it.
And you created a resource or a tool that people can actually utilize to help them connect with you and go through that process, correct?
That's correct. The flywheel piece is something behind, when you're working with me, we'll teach you how to use it. Okay. We have a free resource, Tamara, that people will love. I haven't been able to find it out anywhere else. We call it the deal analyzer. And so,
I like that name.
yeah, thank you. Okay. If you go to investorslighthouse.com, on there is a free tool. You just put your name and email in there and you get access to it. And what it's designed to do is what we've talked a lot about. It helps you go through the 14 disciplines in the framework. But it takes, I think you answer 15 questions. That's it. And it'll go and analyze the deal for you. So it's as simple as you find a property that you're interested in buying. You go in there, you put in you answer 15 questions about, your buying power, your staying power, your growing power. And then it'll analyze it for you. And it'll tell you green, go, yellow, cautious, red, stop, danger ahead, and it'll tell you. And then you can compare it to other properties. You can put a second property in side by side, third property. You can compare it to the stock market, S&P or whatever, see how it stacks up, that real estate stacks up. So that's a free tool. We want to give that to anybody and everybody who wants to use it. It's phenomenal. And then if you want help using it, I'd love an opportunity to speak to them. So,
I love how detailed you are, how structured you are, analytical you are on things. Because I know we've had several
what you're
conversations.
saying is you love how nerdy I am.
No,
Yes,
I love data. I'm very data driven. Like that's our whole company with Broadcast Your Authority is a whole data driven system, like to actually optimize through content with keywords and everything else, like with purpose. And so like, I love that piece of that. I know that you shared a little bit about that, but could you share with our audience as well, back the website a little bit more and anywhere on social media that they can connect with you, Peter?
Yeah. I have these wonderful, amazing people who are all into social media, and I just don't have a great presence there. The best place to find me is going to investorslighthouse.com. investorslighthouse.com is, you're going to find me there. And now I do have at Peter Skaggs official. At Peter Skaggs official.
Hey.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
I love it. Well, and this is going to be your year. This is your year to
I'm gonna
build
lean
this.
into
You're
it.
stepping
That's
into
right. I'm
personal brand, doing podcast, booking tour. You're doing all the things and you have a great resource for people.
I've got these amazing mentors who are going to help me do it. And I'm grateful for that as well. Yes. Thank you.
We're grateful that you're here. And thank you for
Thanks,
joining
Tamara.
us on the show
Yep.
today.
Thrilled to be here. Thank you.
And those of you watching, be sure to subscribe to Broadcast Your Authority. Listen to us, leave a review on Apple or Spotify, and we'll see you in the next episode.